You want me to adjust the... Let me adjust my camera.
We need almost this high.
Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Sandra. Today I've been piddling around in the kitchen trying to do some organization again. It's a constant in your kitchen. Seems like having to constantly go back, organize, declutter, and all the things. It's been kind of a busy week this week. I haven't had time to do a lot of video. Really don't have much to make any content out of. Excuse me. So I thought, well, I got to cook something to eat so I can invite you along as I fix dinner. Today I'm going to be making some pinto beans. I'm going to use my little 3-quart Instapot over there. I'm planning on fixing some Brussels sprouts. I got to get them out of the fridge and make sure they ain't been in there too long. And then I'm going to fix like it's not a true Mexican cornbread, but it's like a knockoff on a low carb version of it. So that's my plan. We'll see how far we get with it. But right here, I've already got a cup of pinto beans measured out, and I've already rinsed them, looked through them and all that. And I like to take my pinto beans, just the regular brown ones, and mix them with the white northern beans. And seem like you get a heartier, richer broth off of them. So that's what I'm using today. So let's just get started. I'll bring you over here to the Instapot and we'll take off from there. So I'm going to put my cup of pinto beans in my pressure cooker. And I'm going to salt these really good. Now, I made a pinto bean recipe on my other channel some time back, years ago. And I got so many hate comments about how much salt that I had used in my pinto beans. Well, I'm going to tell you, pinto beans require a lot of salt for them to be flavored nice. That's one of the key elements. So I salt them really nicely when I put them in the kettle. Another key factor of seasoning your beans really well is to get you a piece of pork. It could be a ham hock, an extra piece of ham that you had laying around, even a ham bone. But you need something to season your beans to give them more flavor. So I have just an individual packed pork chop here. I'm going to lay that in there. Now typically I would use one pork chop for a much bigger size kettle of soup beans, but this will be part of my protein when I eat it with my beans. Plus it's going to give it really good flavor. Okay. And it being froze isn't going to hurt a thing, because these beans, it takes a while to pressure cook them. Did I say that right? Pressure cooker them? But, so it'll have plenty of time to thaw and cut out. A lot of people are like, oh, you are to soak your beans, this and that. No, when I decide I want a pot of beans, I like to just be able to clean them, throw them in the pot, and take off. I'm sure it would probably cut down on the cook time, but I'm not in no rush. I'm aging quick enough. Now, the last time I made these, I can't remember if I used 3 cups of water or 4, so it's been a while. But I'm going to go with 3 cups, because if I remember correctly, that was about right. I'm going to put my lid on and get that sealed down. And let me see if I can turn this around where y'all can see. I'm going to set my pressure cook, and I'm going to raise my timer up to over an hour. Probably about an hour and 12 minutes. And I'm going to press the start button. And I don't need to keep it warm afterwards. There we go. My pot's already in the sealed position. That's one of the neat things about this little Instapot. It automatically seals the valve, the pressure valve, whenever you put the lid on and close it. So let them go, and we'll check back in on those in just a moment. Okay, now I'm getting ready to move over to the Mexican cornbread section of my video. This is simple to throw together and doesn't take long. So I'm going to begin by getting my casserole dish greased with some cooking spray. Now I have made this recipe in like the little mini cupcake tins. I've even made it in the big muffin tins. You can fix this however you want. It's going to be fine. For today, I'm just using this casserole dish. But if you're really into cutting carbs and counting every little carb, you can go on to a website. I'm not sure. There's probably several out there. Put in all these ingredients and it'll tell you how many carbs is in each portion. That's where the mini cupcake tins come in handy if you're wanting to be a real stickler about it. I just get me a piece of it. I know it's lower carb. It's not like eating regular cornbread. And I'm not a big stickler about it. I just try to eat low carb. So let's get this dish greased and then we'll begin putting our mix together. I've got me a little different setup today than I normally do. I angled my island at a diagonal a little bit. The lighting isn't very good this way when it's on my face. But my son's always getting up and down a lot of times when I'm recording, and it allows him a little extra privacy down this hallway over here. Okay, I've got that greased up, so I'm going to set it over here on my way. And I've got my little recipe printed out here. I came up with this cornbread recipe a long time ago. I can't remember how many years ago it was, but my kids love it. I love it. My boys even said they like it better than the real Mexican cornbread. And I'm like, that's really putting your neck out there. I don't know if it's that great, but it is pretty good. But they said they'd rather have this version of it than the other. And I thought, well, we're all chunky monkeys. It'd probably be healthier for them. So that's what I fix now. Okay, it's going to call for 2 cups of almond flour, a lot of times when I make this, like when I get to the later ingredients, I just eyeball them. I don't really typically measure them. But now I do measure on my dry ingredients, like well, not the salt and pepper, but like my cumin, it calls for 1 teaspoon. So I do measure that out, and I measure out my baking powder. So 1 teaspoon. And 1½ teaspoons baking powder. The local farmers markets were supposed to open up this week, and I haven't got out to either one of them. Maybe next week I can do that. I'm wanting me a fresh garden tomato and a fresh head of cabbage. Okay, there we go. Sorry about the racket, you all. Come on out of there, baking powder. There we go. Okay, and then salt and pepper. I just season with my heart. Okay, let me see if that's all my dry ingredients. Salt, cumin, and some red pepper flakes. I just eyeball those a little bit. I don't go too heavy-handed. In my recipe that I come up with, I used, where is it? 1 teaspoon. I'll just lightly sprinkle a little bit. I don't want to get too heavy-handed with it. I'm going to take my fork and stir that and break them big clumps of the almond flour down. Now I've learned with the almond flour, if you're wanting to use it for a recipe, say for like a cake, it's better to sift your almond flour typically for those recipes. But where this, I want this to be more similar to a cornbread, I don't sift it. I just allow it to have a little bit of extra coarseness, I guess is the way to say it. Okay, now we're ready to get on with our other ingredients. Okay, 1/2 cup of diced onion. And like I said, I usually just eyeball it. If it's a little more than 1/2 cup, it's not going to hurt a thing. Okay, and then 2 jalapeños, seeded and diced small. Now I like to use the fresh, raw jalapeños in this. I didn't have it, so I'm going to substitute the kind that's in the jar. And I just diced them up really fine. That's probably about 2 jalapenos worth right there. Let me rinse my hands. I don't want to touch my eye and then end up crying because of pain. Okay. 1 cup of frozen corn. And 3 large eggs. And I like to take my fork and go ahead and beat these a little bit, and it just makes them easier to stir it and mix into this mixture. Let me see here. 1/2 cup sour cream and 1/4 cup of melted butter. So I'll go ahead and get my butter poured over on this side of the mixture. Make sure that your butter is melted really well or cooled really well before you put it in there with your eggs, because you don't want to cook your eggs on accident. 2 cups of cheddar cheese. Let me find a spoon. Oh, flicked some up on me. Okay. Now I'm just going to mix this up. What can I start with? I'll use this. Might should have got a bigger bowl. I'll just take my time and make it work. Oops. Now this is going to be like a stiff consistency, this batter is. It's not going to be a pourable batter. It's going to be more like you spoon it into your dish and then you smooth it out the best you can. So I'm just going to take my time and continue to mix this till I get all those ingredients married together. And as it starts blending together, you can tell it gets a little easier to stir. Okay, let me clear this away. I found this little casserole dish at the Dollar General. I think it's so pretty. On the inside it says, "Home is where the good stuff happens." Okay, I'm just going to spoon this out over into my dish and try to smooth it out. I hear the grandbabies out there riding in their tank, their little army tank. Their daddy's watching them today. Their mommy had a doctor's appointment. But sounds like everything's going well. Okay, I'm just going to punch this down a little bit and smooth it out. Okay, now the cooking time or the baking time on this is going to vary according to if you put it in mini muffin tins or whatever. I'm just going to place it in the oven. I have preheated at 375 and I'll probably bake it around 20 to 25 minutes. And if it looks like it isn't baked through, I'll just let it go a little bit longer. But it should start browning on top when it's done. So I'll bring you back when it's done. Okay, you all, I have my cornbread, fake Mexican cornbread, out of the oven. It took about 25 minutes. And you wouldn't know any wiser that that was made with almond flour. Some people have ate this and they said they couldn't even tell that it was made out of almond flour. So it's bound to be something good because that's what they request all the time. So I hope that a lot of people are like, "Oh, almond flour, I don't want to try it." Please give it a try. You might be pleasantly surprised. I know as being a diabetic, your food limitations are kind of strict sometimes when it comes to carbs. So when you've been on that journey and you find something that it will fill that need for like a regular cornbread, it thrills you to death. That's one reason why I come up with this recipe. My soup beans is almost done. It's showing like 13 minutes. So I'll show those to you here in a minute after I release the pressure and take the lid off. I'm getting ready to take you over here to the countertop and start with my Brussels sprout recipe. So I'll see you over there. Okay, I have 2 pounds of Brussels sprouts here, and I've removed all the loose leaves. I trimmed off the ends of the stem where they would look a little brown. I trimmed them off so they'd look better. And what I'm going to do right now, I've got the slicing blade in my food processor, and I'm going to slice these up. Like I said, it's not your typical Brussels sprouts recipe, but this is my favorite way to make them, and we love them. And I just feed these down through my feeder little by little until they're all sliced up. So I'll mute the volume on this part of the clip because this food processor is a little loud. Okay, for my next step, I've got a half a pound of bacon, and I'm just going to take my knife and cut horizontally across that into little strips. Okay, there is my bacon all sliced up. So I've got a skillet I'm going to put on my burner, and I'm going to turn that up to about a medium heat. I'm going to fry that bacon that I just cut up into dice. I'm going to get that fried real good. I've got 4 minutes left on my Instapot, so I'll be releasing the pressure off of that pretty soon. So for right now, I'm just letting my skillet heat up, and I will start frying the bacon here in just a moment. Okay, my Instapot is almost done. I nicked my thumb while ago with a knife, and it hasn't wanted to let up from weeping a little bit, so I put me a rubber glove on till I can get time to get me a Band-Aid here directly. Okay, Instapot's off. Hit the stop button. Turn my little valve here to release the pressure, and that's going to make a noise. And also, while that's doing that, I'm going to get ready to add some avocado oil to my pan to fry the bacon. Okay, my skillet's hot. I added about a tablespoon or two of avocado oil. Now I'm just going to add my bacon. And I'm going to allow that to fry until it's nice and crumbly and crisp. Okay, I'm going to try to separate this bacon where I diced it up. As it fries, allow that to crisp up real nice and crispy. And once that has cooked all the way through, then we'll finish or start forward with the other steps. Okay, my bacon pieces have fried and rendered down. So my next step is to add a big heaping tablespoon of garlic. I drain off the extra juice out of the jar. I put about that much in there. Maybe a little more. So let that fry for maybe a half a minute to a minute, not too long. And then I'm going to add my shredded Brussels sprouts. Well, sliced, I guess would be a better term. Now this looks like a lot, but it will cook down a lot too. So I'm going to place my lid on here and allow this to cook down a little bit. And once it's cooked down a little bit, I might add a little salt and pepper. So I'll bring you back here in a moment. Okay, this is starting to cook down a little bit. So I'm going to take my spatula and try to mix all that good bacon grease and garlic up in the Brussels sprouts. Now you don't have to add a lot of salt to this whenever you go to season it. because that bacon grease has got a lot of salt in it. I'd rather undersalt it a little bit and add more if I need to when I go to eat it. So I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of black pepper. And some salt. Give it another good mix. And I'm going to allow that to cook down some more. Okay, I'm going to remove this pork chop into a separate bowl, and usually they'll just fall apart, but I'm going to take my tongs here a minute like this and just break up that pork into smaller chunks, and I'll add that back to my beans, and I'll remove that bone. Let's stir these beans up and see how they look. They look really good. I need to get me a little spoon and see if they're good and soft. Perfect. So I'm going to cut up that meat, break it up, and add it back to my pintos. I removed that bone. Look how tender that meat is. Oh, that's a bone right there. That ain't tender. All right. Look how tender it just breaks apart though. Okay, add it back to my beans. Stir that back up in there together. And I'm going to place my lid back on there and just keep those beans good and hot until I'm ready to eat.
Down your hot.
You want me to adjust the... Let me adjust my camera.
What do you mean? It's this high. It's okay, just stand back.
I have to do this every time one of the other brothers gets in there. Okay, you all. This is my son, Kyle.
The handsome one.
What'd you say?
The handsome one.
He calls himself the handsome one. They all call themselves the favorite. He's going to try Brussels sprouts for the first time. So I'm going to spoon him out a little bit here in a bowl and allow him to try them. And Kyle, you could tell us what you think about them.
Piping hot.
Bacon, garlic, and Brussels sprouts shredded.
That is so good.
And this is your first time eating them?
Yeah, that's...
They're kind of like cabbage, aren't they? Except
Yeah.
a little bit stronger.
That chicken. Wow.
That's bacon.
That's bacon? Man, this tastes amazing.
Oh, okay. All right, so I guess that's a win-win. Maybe you all decide to try us out. Had to get him some more. All right, I'm going to get ready to fix me a plate, and I'll show you after I got it all plated up. to also crumble my cornbread up in the soup off them beans. Really good. Really good. This is dinner.